Footballing community, waiting time is now over. The Albert JTV practice is now open. The surgery required is Premier League talk and any other business. Let's get to work. Welcome to the weekly surgery. Good afternoon, people. Apologies, doing the amateur mistake of not taking yourself off of mute, especially when you're doing an intro into your weekly surgery episode 33, I believe it is. Thank you for tuning in. I'm unfortunately, I have to say it again. I did stream this Destination Wise live to Twitter / X, but it hasn't worked. Now I know there's been an upgrade. I think it's on the 14th of July. That you can't stream your streams to Twitter unless you get the premium thing, which I've done. It's still not showing up, so I'll have to find out what the flipping issue is, because you can't be taking people's funds and it's not streaming. I even removed it, re-added it, removed it, re-added it, still didn't work. So unfortunately, this won't be going live on the Twitter feed. So apologies, but people, the usual weekly surgery is back on a Sunday afternoon. Interesting. Like I said, episode 33, Arsenal talk, and I'm sure I might mention a few other things. Feel a little bit of a solo, obviously, because my YouTube Tottenham wife, we are no longer collaborating because international tournament time is over, as well as Southgate's reign as England manager. But listen, I love doing tournament football. It's like I said, it's my trilogy collaboration with Holly. And I'm sure we'll do one in a couple of years' time for the World Cup in, is it USA, Mexico, Canada? Have I got that right? People, smash the like button for Albert JTV as you see on your screen. And of course, audio listeners, you'll also get to hear this on the Apple download and the Spotify download, and also wherever you get your downloads, regardless anyway. So yeah, people, good to be back, man. Good to be back. So let's get into it. One thing about transfer windows, I have to be honest, right, is I don't get too caught up in it. Not because I expect my club to immediately do business and get things done ASAP, because it's not negotiating. If negotiating was that easy, I would be doing it. But I don't get too caught up. I see a lot of people tweeting and like they're in the know and spreading untold transfer rumors and galore. I'll give you two examples, right? So two players that I see a lot of Arsenal fans tweeting about on the social media, especially Twitter, was Douglas Luiz and Amadou Onana. I've lost count of the amount of times I kept people saying, "Oh, you know, what do you think of this player? Would he fit in at Arsenal? There's links of him that Arsenal are interested. This player's going to come." Douglas Luiz went to Juventus, and also Amadou Onana has gone to Aston Villa. So that's why I say I don't really pay too much attention to what people tweet about. Cool if you're a journalist and that's your thing in terms of your interaction and brokering deals. I get it. That makes more sense. But when I see people that are not even YouTube content creators just tweeting stuff, and you're just like, why are you doing this? People might go, "Oh, you know what? It's for the engagement." And I'm like, okay, but you don't know anything. And the proof of the pudding is when 2 seasons ago, when we signed Fabio Vieira, I don't think even none of the main sports journalists would have got that one. That came out of completely nowhere. So, like I said, when I see people tweet about transfers, I just laugh, man. I just laugh. You're so heavily invested. And I'm like, I'm on Twitter. I've been on Twitter for over 10 years. So I know to send a tweet takes a bit of time and consideration. It does. And if you're someone that endlessly likes to tweet, before you know it, you spent 2 hours deliberating with people that you're never ever going to meet, never ever going to talk to, never going to get on with. and you're debating about transfers that actually haven't happened, or players that are nowhere near linked to Arsenal Football Club. So it's mad. I never really understood it, man. I get the engagement side of it. Big up to Doug, Emerson in the chat, and Matthews in the chat as well. Doug, I don't know. I know you stream live to Twitter as well from your channel. Have you signed up to premium? Anybody signed up to premium? Because it's annoying, man. Because it's still not doing it. I'm gonna try to reconnect it now as I'm talking live. See if it does it. No, I can see the thing in the top right hand corner not working, so not happy. But I'll have to uninstall it and then reinstall it again. But yeah, transfer. So Arsenal looks like people they are going to get Ricardo Calafiori over the line. There were a few things I saw last week. I mean, there were the initial reports, and then there was sort of the stalling of the deal, and they couldn't reach an agreement apparently. Then it kind of came back on, Fabrizio leaded with it, and Ornstein's got on it, and so many other journalists and people sitting on Twitter who said, "Oh, they knew from the start," and I'm like, okay, well, have your glory, have your moment. If you're getting paid from it, even better. But listen, this is why I always say, I don't know, it depends. Like, Doug, you're on Liverpool fan. Big up Russ. Russ is in the chat, man. Let me get Russ up on the screen, man. Go on, Russ. Big up Russ, man. Russ, I'm gonna give your amazing work, your photography, digital prints, a plug when I sort of come to the end of the stream. Or maybe I might even do it pretty soon, but I get it. Like, we all have our football clubs we support, right? But this is why, especially when we have an Euros and we have a World Cup, I always encourage people, look, I love my club, but I'm a football lover first and foremost. I have to say that. So I love tournament football. I love World Cups, love European Championships. If I can squeeze in a Copa America and a African Cup of Nations in there, I'll do it. Because the fact is, players will get linked with your club. So yes, you'll do the whole YouTube clips and listen to the word on the street in terms of people that probably follow the Bundesliga more, or Serie A more, or La Liga more. But that's why I say, I encourage people, watch tournament football. I hadn't heard of Yamin Lamel and Nico Williams through snippets and scene bits, but to actually get to watch them play in a tournament and see what the fuss was about, it was worth it because they were brilliant. I saw a little bit, not a lot, of Ricardo Calafiori. I mean, I speak to my guy Harry Simu, who's a Italian football connoisseur. He'll tell me, but sort of doing my sort of research with Calafiori people. So 22, good age, 6'2", very, very imposing figure, which is very, very good because we've got quite a what's what I'm looking for? We've got a team that is actually quite physically imposing in terms of physicality and height. But yeah, with Calafiori, yeah, 22, he's only got 5 caps at Italy. In terms of career appearances, actually, I think he's got about 69, which is not a lot. But if you've been playing first team football for those amount of appearances, then even at 22, you would have probably gathered some good experience of playing first team football. I have to say that firstly. He's come through all the age gaps, all the age groups, should I say, from I think under 15s right through to obviously the national Italian side. But time at Roma, Basel, Bologna. I think there was a loan spell at Genoa, if I've got that right as well. But I think for me, what I've liked of what I've seen with him so far, and I don't know what you guys feel watching this now or when you watch it back on the rerun or listen to it on the audio. What I've been impressed with him so far is it's his positioning. He's very good very, very good ball carrier. But I think more so for me, it's his anticipation. It's his anticipation is first class. People might look at someone like who we've got, Gabriel Margulies, and he's very aggressive, very touch tight. But I think with Calafiori, he started out as a left back, can play as a wing back, but obviously now he's a left-sided centre back, which not easy to get in European football, man. Obviously we bought Jaco Kivior now, technically 2 seasons ago. But yeah, what I've seen of Calafiori, um, very, very, very good positional sense wise and anticipation, which is key for defenders in terms of marking your, your opposition strikers out of the game. But I like what I see so far. I can see why there's a lot of fuss about him. I listened to Tony Cascarino talk about him on Talk Sport. He's got a bit of Sergio Ramos in him. This Matthew just put a good comment in the chat there. But yeah, a lot of people have been name dropping a lot of names. But listen, he's obviously shown some kind of form and some kind of class and some kind of consistency. I heard he had a really good season last season for Bologna, and he was touted by a lot of clubs. But it's been sort of said on good authority, from depending on what outlet you had to listen to, he really wanted to come to Arsenal. And I think with the good thing with him is sometimes you can bring players into a club, and then players know, and the manager knows they're going to be an understudy. They're going to be maybe a bit part player. I don't get that impression with him. He will push Gabriel Margulies naturally because he's left-sided centre-back. And listen, we talk about having squad depth, and not just squad depth. Let me go a bit more deeper into it. In terms of the quality of our squad depth, should I say. Matthew, I just seen you put a comment at the bottom of the chat, and I did see it just before I came live. I'm gonna come to it. I'm gonna lead on to it. Thank you, because you just said it. I saw Fabrizio tweet about 20 minutes ago now about Takehiro Tomiyasu will not be on the plane to go to the US tour because of an injury. And I'm like, oh man, I think this guy's literally cursed. And I think it highlights even more so, that getting this deal done with Calafiori was major, because we're looking at the terms of with Kivior, there's possibility he may be moved on, whether it be a loan spell or a permanent. Zinchenko has been pushed down the pecking order. We've got effectively a new player coming back for this season coming with Yuri Timber. So if Tomiyasu's not even going to go out on tour, that's going to set him back tenfold. So yeah, really disappointed to see that news again with Tomiyasu, unfortunately. What do you do? What do you do? The player can't seem to stay consistently fit, even during the off season. So that's a shame. But yeah, listen, I'm looking forward to seeing Calafiori. It's a beautiful name, that Ricardo Calafiori. It just rings off the tongue. A big up to Jenny as well. Go on, Jenny. Jenny, I just forgot to. I think I mentioned it to you. I was lucky enough, people, Arsenal community, to get a ballot ticket for opening game of the season against Wolves. Even I couldn't believe it. But I got it. I can't remember now, but please tell me Tierney and Tommy are on the final year of their contract. Matthew, quickly search that for me. I'm not sure. Tierney must be. He must be approaching it, or definitely within the last 2 years. Tommy was given what? An original extension of what was it? 12? It was an additional year. But I reckon the reason why Arsenal never outlaid like a big contract for Tomiyasu was for the very reason we found out 25 minutes ago, that he's going to miss the preseason tour. So that sets us back defensively already, and that's before we've even kicked a ball domestically in the Premier League. So that's not a great start, man. But listen, yeah, looking forward to Calafiori, man. Listen, anybody that comes to the Premier League, it's going to be a tough start. But listen, what you want for it to happen is get the deal done, get him onto the preseason tour, get some familiarity with your teammates, and then we go from there. But I'm very excited to see him. Very excited to see how Calafiori gets on in an Arsenal shirt. So when it does eventually officially happen, welcome to the red carpet, Ricardo Calafiori. So yeah, looking forward to that. People, next person I want to talk about quickly is this guy, ESR. So Arsenal had a friendly yesterday against Leyton Orient, wasn't it? They won 2-0. Gabriel Jesus scored and Emil Smith Rowe scored. There were some minutes for Thomas Partey, I believe, Fabio Vieira, Ben White, I think Zinchenko as well. Have I missed out one more? I'm not too sure. I don't know what you guys' thoughts about ESR, but I'm going to tell you mine very quickly. From an outgoing point of view with Arsenal, and many of you would have complained about this, and I certainly have complained about in terms of Arsenal being behind the 8 ball when it comes to recuperating decent money for players who are either going to be moved on, whether you want to keep them or not, or you feel they can do a job. Football's a short career. These guys have to go and earn a living somewhere else, go and earn a career somewhere else if there's not a pathway for you in the team. I personally, looking at the very few appearances he made last season, and with that, him not being injured, by the way, Mikel Arteta just didn't use him or didn't trust him or whatever the reason was. I would personally move him on. If I'm looking at players at the club where Arsenal need to think about being a club where you get some decent money in for players, and that's down to likes of Richard Garlick and Edu. But I think with ESR, I'm not sure where he fits into this side. Can you tell me where he fits into the side? Because, like I said, I'll go back to what I said before 2 minutes ago. There were plenty of times last season where he was fit, but he was bench warming, or he just Arteta didn't pick him. I mean, he had that game where he came in for the Premier League game at home to Luton. I was there for that. Had a good game. I think some people went a little bit overboard personally. That's my own personal opinion. But if Arsenal are going to be serious about recuperating money, you have to look at the likes of Emil Smith Rowe, Eddie Nketiah, Reece Nelson. Those are your 3 main players. And if there's not a future for Kieran Tierney at the club again, I think it's been spoken about, he's injured again, then you've got to move these guys on. That is where the money is at. I don't know what the situation is with Ainsley Maitland-Niles. I know he's on loan at Lyon. I don't know what's left on his contract. Is he somebody you can possibly move on and get a fee for? Yes, there is money to be had there, man. We can argue, we can quibble, we can talk about, obviously Fulham, I think, lodged a £25 million raid of Emil Smith Rowe. Of course, Arsenal should turn that down. For me, if you get 35-40 million pounds for Emil Smith Rowe, I think you've done really, really well, considering the guy's injury record. I think you'd have done exceptionally well. There's talks of also, I'll come to Eddie Nketiah, but yeah, let me stick with ESR. I would personally move him on. I know there's been talk of Mikel Arteta said he wants to keep him, but this is for me where it comes down to the players and how much you want to play football. Your Reece Nelson, your Eddie Nketiahs, your Emil Smith Rose. At least for some of the other guys, they've gone to go and get minutes. So I think Nuno Tavares has gone to Lazio. Is he on loan? Sambi Lokonga's on loan to Sevilla. Obviously, we mentioned Maitland-Niles on loan at Lyon. I think Mikel Biref is on loan at Sturm Graz. Okay, he's gone. Right, Maitland-Niles is gone. Right. So again, that's another player. Look back over a few years ago, we wouldn't have got crazy money for him, but we could have got something. It's frustrating. I think for me, I don't know about you guys. For me, this transfer window, I was more looking at who we could move on for monetary value. We can talk about loans. We can talk about people coming back to the club, but I'm looking at terms of money. Listen, there's still time. There's still time. We might make a cash load or money load on a lot of players going out, but I'm not too sure because clubs, depending on what players are linked with them, they may not have the funds to buy these players. But we're in a better position, I would say, as of maybe last season going into this season, to actually move some players on for some decent money. And one of those players we're going to talk about Guys, pose any questions if you want to, because I'm not going to do a long stream because one, it's a Sunday, and two, you want to relax a little bit. The next player we're going to talk about is this young man, Eddie Nketiah. Again, there's been links with him, Olympic Marseille. With this one, I don't know what you guys think. This is my opinion. We've had some English footballers. Over going back many a year, who took the plunge to go play football outside of England. I'm going way back. I'm talking about your Desi Walkers, your Paul Gascoigne, your Chris Waddles, Steve McManaman did it. Michael Owen did it for a little bit. Obviously, Jude Bellingham has obviously gone to Borussia Dortmund, and he's obviously got the big money, moved to Madrid. I guess it depends how much Eddie, and I get it, you're a London boy. I think he's a Lucian kid, born and bred, Eddie Nketiah, not far from my neck of the woods in New Cross. But I guess it depends how much these guys want to play football. And is the appeal of playing football in another country appealing to these guys? Is Eddie 24, people? If I've got that right, just double check his age if I don't get that up in the next few minutes. But again, he's one you have to pinpoint and say, one, we need to move him on. Two, he's got to want to leave. And three, he's someone we can actually get some decent money for, whatever you class as decent. Because unfortunately for me, he's not the man to take us forward in a leading line role, and he's not the man to take us forward as somebody coming off the bench to make an impact. Because for me, he's the kind of player that starts a game and makes an impact as opposed to coming on and making one. But yeah, for me, you have to pinpoint those players in terms of monetary value and what Arsenal can get for them, because money doesn't grow on trees. Yes, Arsenal back in the Champions League, there's revenue there, but you need to sell well as well. I mean, you can talk about Man City and Chelsea till the cows come home, but one thing they do well and better than Arsenal is they recuperate very good money for their players. You look at Man City, I've mentioned this before, this is nothing new. Leroy Sané, Raheem Sterling, Zinchenko, Jesus, Ferran Torres, Chelsea, Tammy Abrahams, Fikayo Tomori, Kurt Zuma, Mason Mount. They get good, they make brilliant player sales. Arsenal need to start doing it. I'll get back to it. They need to start doing it. There you go, 25. Yeah, he's got to move on. In a couple of years' time, he'll be at the peak of his career in terms of age-wise. He has to move on. He has to move for his own sake. 100%. Whether it be Marseille, whether it be a club in the Premier League, which I'm sure Arsenal probably wouldn't want to do that. But Eddie, Reece, ESR, you can chuck in there. Maybe there's a couple more in there. We've got to move these guys on. If you're talking about Arsenal bringing in the likes of a Mikel Moreno or a Victor Gyökeres or who else is there? Arsenal's been linked with Bakayoko, the winger at PSV, Pedro Neto at Wolves. You're gonna need a bit of leverage, man. And then your bit of leverage is your player sales you're gonna make. So Richard Garlick, Edu, get on it, man, because we need to find something, man. We can't just pluck these guys with a tree. There's one player I love at Arsenal. I've said it publicly quite a few times. I raved about him before he joined Palace, and that was a Berriese. If you can hear any noise in the background, people, for audio purposes, you've got the ice cream man coming inside the road. So, oh man, what a stream. But yeah, I love a Berriese. To me, he's something we don't have at Arsenal. People talk about if Martin Odegaard was to get injured or be out of the team for a certain amount of time. Fabio Vieira obviously hasn't shown that, whether that's down to injury or just him not showing any qualities. But Eberechi Eze would be fantastic, man. I would love him at Arsenal. If it's possible, I hope they could bring him to the club, but we'll see. In terms of striker, people in the chat, tell me what you're saying, man. Do you think Arsenal will get one in? And would you like one in? Two very different questions. Because let me cut to chat quickly because I just see that there. Big up Early Doors Football TV. Yeah, listen, the 99s, man. That's the one, man. 100%, man. and just raspberry sauce, the single cones, waffle cones, whatever you want to go with, man. But the striker thing for me, I saw what Potsy was saying on his channel a couple streams ago. And he said he kind of wasn't really sure Arsenal would get a striker. I think Arsenal do need one. Arsenal definitely need one. I'll tell you when they need one. Not because of just what I saw last season. Arsenal will always score goals. Let's have it right. There's too much quality within our squad and team for us not to score goals. But what you want is you want a striker in clutch moments that are going to turn those draws into wins. Turn those, defeats into draws. There might be games where, which we will come up against low blocks is the fashionable term now. How are we going to break teams down? That's why I would love a Eberechi as a Arsenal. But in terms of the striker thing, people know who I want. I've made that very, very clear since December last year. That's Victor Gyökeres. I think he would fit ideal. I think he would fit perfectly into Arsenal, because what you could get with him is you could still play Havertz centrally because Gyökeres can play off of the front man. But ideally, yeah, I'm talking in an ideal world, I would play Gyökeres down the middle. But I think I get people's reservations about Gyökeres because I don't think it's even the money, because Gyökeres is like 25, man. Again, good height, I think 6'1", 6'2", good across the ground, assist king, goal king. People go, oh yeah, but he's Coventry in the Sky a bit, and then it's the Portuguese league. He knows a rough and tumble physicality, Victor Gyökeres. That's no problem with that. I know he's only come back recently from minor knee surgery, so that might take a bit of time. But I think when I saw Havertz play in the Euros, to me, he should have been top goal scorer. He had a lot of chances, man. He links up play with Kai Havertz, but he had a lot of chances in that Euros for Germany, and he could have easily bagged 5 or 6 goals, easily. And I just think with Arsenal, Kai will get us goals. Kai will definitely get us goals. And if he hits double figures for goals and assists combined next season, fantastic. But I think in terms of a striker, for me, Gyökeres is the most viable option. I'm not surprised the links of Osimhen going to PSG. I thought that would happen potentially. There was rumors about Gyökeres going to Chelsea. There's rumors about Watkins potentially to Chelsea. I heard. Don't know how true that is. I know there's some people that love him at Arsenal. People talk about Alexander Isak, Pedro Neto. The problem with Pedro Neto and Alexander Isak is so many injuries. Now, it's not inconceivable with the amount of games these guys play in terms of the amount of games these guys play as footballers. You'll get a fair chance and very good chance of playing a lot of football in a season, depending how we're doing the two domestic cup competitions. You factor in Europe and the Premier League, so that's 4 comps. It's just an injury record with Alexander Isak and Pedro Neto, because they would be 2 players I'd absolutely say, get me in a car and then drive them to the red carpet. But yeah, there's at this point of the season, people, man, you're gonna get so many links, so many names. You've seen it already. I mean, this is my first show in terms of talking about Arsenal after the Euros. But we've got one over the line in Ricardo Calafiori. Emil Smith Rowe, I think is touch and go if he stays or not. I think if Palace or Fulham stump up the money, I think it'd be very difficult for Arsenal to turn down 35 million plus. I think it'd be absolutely insane to turn that down for a guy that had literally a couple of starts for the calendar 2024, and we're going for a title, by the way, last season, and the boss didn't deem him good enough to bring him on games to make an effect or to change the games. But yeah, listen, we've got, Nuno Tavares is on loan, Sambi Lokonga, Marquinhos is Fluminense, and obviously there's a couple more. I think Tyrese, is it Jules? I forgot his name. Tell me his name, people in the chat. It's gone out of my head. I've got it in my head and I'm thinking about it now. Tyrese John Jules. I've got that right. But yeah, listen, we're in 21st of July. I can't remember when the transfer window closes, people. I'd have to double check and remember. But people, get your questions in quickly because I'm gonna shoot off soon. But let me give a before I give a plug to my main man, if he's still in the chat. People, if you don't know what to do by now, this is what you should do. And there you have it, people. Funky intro to subscribe to Albert JTV. Smash the like buttons, people, as we speak. Yes, I did hear that. Reece needs to move on, man. Reece needs to definitely move on. I think. There you go. Thank you, man. I got the name wrong, man. I was just yeah, because he was on I'm getting confused with because Amari Hutchinson went on loan to Ipswich, didn't he? Which he did very, very well, by the way. There you go. Thank you, my man. 30th of August. So, Arsenal fans, I know it's frustrating every single season when it comes to January summer transfer windows as well as January. We'll talk about it another time. But we just have to see what these guys do. Your Edus and your Richard Garlicks and moving guys on and getting the right guys in. So it's a waiting game, unfortunately. I know. Listen, I'd love a Ribery as a Victor Yorker at Arsenal. People say we still need a winger. Like I said, Nico Williams showed that he was brilliant actually in Euro 2024 and very deserved winner of Spain winning the European Championships. Like I said, Bakayoko's a good winger at Eindhoven. Obviously, we've got Pedro Neto here as well. There are players out there, man. Just depends. I mean, is Thomas Partey staying? Who knows? It might still be movement. I think I can understand Arsenal keeping him, but you might not get a lot of game time out of him. So again, listen, he could move on. You never know. It's still time. Like my guy just put in just early doors put in the chat. 30th of August we got to. So listen, we'll see what happens. But people, like I said, it's not going to be a long one today. 35 minutes in. Like I said, smash the like button through the ballpark. Ricardo Calafiori is on over line. We're just waiting for the sort of the promo stuff. Let's have a look. If you looked at all the academy players that have left on the 30 units, it's on the website. I'll have a look, man. There's a lot. Yeah, again, that's been spoken about quite a few times now. But yeah, listen, time will tell, man. Time will tell. I think in terms of Arsenal youngsters, if anyone's going to make a breakthrough into the first team, I think the most obvious one and the most standout one has got to be Ethan Anwar, isn't it? He's young, but I think he's the one that Mikel looks at and think, you know what, he might get some minutes this season in the first team and get brought on very, very gradually. But time will tell. But people, I want to say thank you for tuning in on this Sunday afternoon. I will have to look into what's going on with the streaming to Twitter, which is annoying because I paid for it and it's still not coming up streaming on there. So I'll have to double check and find out what's going on. Also, what we've got coming in, I'm going to do some tweaks to the channel this season so that I have more consistency of particular shows that are going to happen. I'll look at the weekly surgery show and I'll put it probably on my community page or I'll tweet it out or Instagram post it. But just want to get some more structure in terms on the frequency of the streams coming out, because things with a show like Life Stories, that can come anytime. That's fine. I can work with that. But my weekly surgery show, also any match reviews are quite standard. And, I might do some morning shows in terms of Sundays, which I did quite a few times last season, the season before, which are really good. So I'm gonna have to sort of work it around work and sort of look at the channel and see timings and when I can get the content out there, which will come, obviously. But listen, the life of a YouTuber, stroke work, normal work. But early just want to thank you, man. Appreciate you for jumping on for the first time. Subscribe and spread the word, my friend. I appreciate it. Much love, man. But yeah, looking forward to seeing if Ethan gets some minutes this season, man. 100%. But people, I guess if you've got tickets to go to games this season, I will see you. Big up. Oh, one more thing before I leave. How can I forget, man? And give this man a plug. Where's he gone? So big up to Guna Russ if you're in the chat, mate. As you can see, if you're looking at the screen, it will be to your left-hand side. You can see a digital print in the back. That was courtesy of the main man himself, Russ, who does some amazing digital prints, which I've got on the screen as we speak right now. Let me get his details so you can follow him as well. Russ's Instagram handle is in the bio, and it's going along the bottom of the screen as I'm talking right now. So you've got different colors there. The red, I think I've got the one on the left, or it might slightly be different. Great work by my man Russ. Let me get the picture of the one where I was holding it. That's the one I've got, people. Brilliant fit. Russ, I'll definitely sending you some funds your way, man. And I'll continue to spread the word, man. You deserve it. Great work you do, mate, with the digital prints. And let's get you retired, man. And earn a bucket load. But people, please check out Russ. Like I said, his Instagram handle is in the bio, and his email address is going along the bottom of the screen. And also, I think I did put that in the bio as well. So people, please check him out. I shared his work on my Facebook profile, and I'll do it on Twitter again as well at some stages of the season, just to keep it fresh and frequent out there. But yeah, that is the show for today, my amazing people. Big up to you guys tuning. I'm sure you probably got Sunday roast in the pipeline. So yeah, big up to Russ does some brilliant work, man. Love Russ, man. I love Jenny as well in the chat as well. So yeah, get the Sunday roasting, people. Relax, and Albert JT will be back with some content very, very soon to talk more transfers and hopefully some more signings to add to Ricardo Calafiori. So people, that is Albert JTV over and out for another weekly surgery. # episode 33. See you soon, people.